Yo, what's good, my wolf pack? Elf of the pack right here. And today, it's Halloween, bruh. Now, I know I've been slacking on uploads lately. I got a lot of videos planned that I want to do. It's just hard finding the time to do so, alright? But since today is Halloween, I want to tell you guys a story. A story about how I thought the house that I was previously living in was haunted. And now this story starts in like 2013, 2014. Finding the timing is a bit difficult. You know, I lived all around Washington, right? But I lived in this house, right? I was living with my parents back at the time. It was my parents, my two brothers, and my sister. All right, I was living with my family at the time, right? And we lived in this big house. It was a four-bedroom house, right? Giant house. It was nice. It was comfortable. It was beautiful, all right? And it was a big house, right? It was cool. But not just me, but my siblings as well. We thought the house was haunted. My parents, they didn't believe us. They laugh about it to this day when we bring it up and tell them how we thought the house was haunted. They think that we were just imagining things, right? But I kid you not, there was something going on in that house, right? Like it was just it was just the littlest things that would it was just the littlest things that would seem off, that would freak us out. Like whether it was when we would have our bedroom doors closed, they would open on their own, right? Like we would have the doors closed, locked. The doors, they would just open up on their own every single time. At first, I thought it was just me because when I would be in that big house by myself, I would just go in my room, lay in bed, watch TV, play video games, and it'd be cool. I'd just be chilling. But my bedroom door would just ever so silently open up, and I'd just be looking at the door like, what's going on? And I always peek out through the crack to make sure, that I'm really by myself. And I would go walking around the house and I would never find nobody, right? That in of itself was creepy. Not to mention, if you were home alone in that giant house, the house would be making all kind of creaking sounds. Like you would hear scratching from the inside of the walls. Like you would legitimately hear something scratching from the inside of the walls, bruh. Yo, it was creepy, especially if you were there by yourself, right? Like I remember one time, right, that I used to have a desktop computer in my room, and it would always turn on by itself. I would have it completely shut down, and it would turn on by itself. No one would touch it. Nobody would do anything. I wouldn't touch it. It would just boot up by itself. And I was like, I'll be like, how did it turn on? Nobody touched it. How did it turn on? It would legit just boot up by itself. Like I remember one time my little sister was in my room. I was out doing something. I don't remember what, but I remember my sister was in my room by herself, right? And all of a sudden I just hear her scream, right? I run in there. I was like, Keishelle. That's my sister's name, Keishelle. I was like, Keishelle, what's wrong? She was like, that computer in your room just turned on by itself. There's a ghost in your room, little kid. I'm not going back in your room anymore. And I'd be like, I was laughing at her because she was so freaked out, but I knew that computer would be turned on by itself. All right, I wasn't freaked out. I wasn't scared at that moment. I wasn't freaked out at that moment because whenever my siblings get scared, it's kind of funny. But I already knew that there was something going on with that computer. That there was something going on with that house. Now it's not like none of us ever got attacked or anything like that. It's not that deep, bruh. But it was always just the littlest things that was freak us out. That would have there would be no explanation to whatsoever, right? And I remember, bruh, clear as day, that sometimes when I would be home alone, whenever I didn't close my door, and they'll just be the littlest crack opened, like there'll be the tiniest bit of space open between the crack of the door, right? It's like I would see something. I would see something. I would see somebody, something just run down the hall. Like I would just see this white blur just fly down the hall. Like I could be laying in my bed and I can just glance up at the door and I look through the crack. Look through the crack of what's left between the space of the door. I'll look through the crack and I'll just see something white just fly down the hallway, and I will be like, I'll sit up and be like, what was that? And then I'll go out there, I'll grab my baseball bat or the giant stick that I kept the giant stick and a baseball bat in my room. Don't ask me why, I just did. I kept a bat and a giant wooden stick in my room. So whenever I would see that, I would grab either the bat or the stick, either one. I would grab one of them and go out and investigate the house, right? Which is not the smartest thing now that I think about it, because when you investigate, you die. But I would go out and I would investigate. I would check all the rooms, but I would never find anything. But it always happened without fail. When I was alone, there would be this white blur that would just be like in front of my door, and as soon as when I would take notice of it, it just flies down the hall, right? So besides seeing that and doors opening up on their own, I will admit that I used to watch a lot of scary stuff. I don't watch as much scary stuff like I did back in the day, but I still do like horror, you know what I'm saying? But I used to watch scary stuff like heavy, like real heavy back then. I say this was like 2013, 2014, right? We lived in that house for like 4 or 5 years, right? And it was pretty creepy being there by yourself. But like I said, like I was saying, man, I used to watch a whole bunch of scary stuff, heavy, and my brother would watch them with me. You know, he would watch ghost shows and all that with me, right? And it's like whatever was in that house, whatever was going on in that house would intensify when we would watch scary stuff. You feel me? Like I remember we would watch a haunting or celebrity ghost stories. We would always hear noises echo throughout the house, or we hear like screeching sounds. Like like you ever walk down a hallway and then it's like you ever walk down the hallway and you will like slightly trip and your shoe will like glide against the floor and it will make like this weird screeching sound. That's what it sounded like. You hear like the you would hear like a screeching sound, right? And then you would hear scratching in the walls once again. And we used to really watch those ghost shows and stuff at night, right? And it was worse at night because you would feel like something was watching you. Like I cannot tell you, like whether I was watching ghost shows with my brother or I was home alone, especially at night, you would feel this feeling of being watched, and it was insanely creepy. All right, insanely creepy. You feel me? But besides all that, I never fully saw anything. I never fully saw anything like straight up in front of me. It was always something out the corner of my eye. That white flash is shooting down the hallway. You know, it was always just something out the corner of my eye that I would see, and when I would turn to look at it fully, it'd be gone. You know, like I'll sit in my peripheral vision, but by the time I look at it, you know, that white, whatever it was, ghost, whatever, it'd be gone. It'll just shoot down the hallway, you know? So I never fully saw that, and I never fully saw anything else that was out of the ordinary besides that, you know? So I never really came in full contact with a ghost or demon or nothing like that, you know, thank the Lord, because I would probably have a heart attack, nigga. I would have not have stepped foot back into the house. I would not have went back into that house if I have, you know? But, Besides the scratching on the walls and the mysterious opening of doors, you know, and that white flash, that white ghost, whatever it was, you know, I never really saw anything else besides that, but it was still pretty creepy. especially when you were there by yourself. Like, it was cool because I know I wasn't the only one tripping. I knew my siblings were saying the exact same thing, but our parents didn't really believe us. They thought it was funny. My fiance, my wife, my girlfriend at the time, uh, she didn't believe me either. She thought it was kind of funny. She was making fun of me, like, "Oh, you scared of ghosts, babe? Oh, they're so cute." I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, it's real funny." But and nobody believed us. But me and my siblings, we knew what was going on with that house, bro. We knew something was up. There, none of us got hurt or nothing like that. But there was always just the littlest bit of things, the littlest bit of sounds, the weird things we would see in our peripheral vision. There was something going on in that house. I think there was some kind of spirit in that house. It wasn't like threatening or whatever, but it just still was enough to freak us out, especially with the opening of doors, things turning on by themselves, the scratching on the inside of the walls. You feel me? It was all pretty creepy, no lie. And like I said, the feeling of being watched. Like, I don't know if they get the feeling of being watched, but I would get the feeling of being watched. I would get the feeling of being watched heavy. You feel me? But other than that, nothing really went down. We lived in the house for a few years and we moved out, and that was that. But since it was Halloween, I just wanted to share with you guys that little experience that I've had. We did live in an apartment complex that we thought was haunted as well, because things will randomly just fall over on their own and nobody would touch them. You feel me? Things would just randomly fall over on their own, and we would hear noises in that apartment. Nothing like scratching on the inside of the walls, nothing like that, but just random creaking sounds. You feel me? Even when we were home alone. And that was pretty creepy, but there was a few places we lived in that we thought were haunted, but luckily we never saw anything crazy. I know some of y'all might say it could have been y'all imagination. I don't believe that for a second. I don't think so, man. It was nah. It couldn't have just been our imagination. There's no way you could have been all imagining the same thing. I don't believe that for a second, bruh. But, yeah, man, that's basically it. Since it was Halloween, I wanted to share with you guys a somewhat scary experience I've had in the past. You know what I'm saying? But, yeah, man, that's basically all I gotta say. Peace out, my Wolfpack. Your alpha has spoken. I hope you guys have a good Halloween, man. Stay safe. People be wilding out in these streets. Don't do nothing crazy, y'all. Don't do nothing crazy. Have fun, party, go out, get your candy, have fun with your friends and family. Have a good time. Just be safe, all right? Anyway, that's all I gotta say. And if you guys want to know the music playing in the background, if y'all want to know the music playing in the background, it's from one of my favorite anime of all time. Incredibly dark. It's an incredibly dark anime called Shiki. It's a vampire anime. It's pretty good. If y'all don't mind, like, dark stuff, it's got a lot of blood and gore and stuff in it. It gets crazy at the end. I'm not gonna spoil nothing, but Shiki it's a beautiful yet tragic anime. I think y'all would like it. Y'all should check it out. It's called Shiki. All right. But yeah, man, that's all I gotta say. Playing a Shiki soundtrack in the background. Love the music. But that's all I gotta say, y'all. Peace out, my Wolfpack. Your alpha has spoken. I think that first song y'all heard was Dance of Death, and this one is called I can't even pronounce that. Epita. But yeah, man, I'm out. Peace out, my Wolfpack. Your alpha has spoken.